Okay, this video we're looking at reciprocals. So what is a reciprocal? Well, they're fairly straightforward. Basically means you're flipping a fraction. So when the numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator, the bottom becomes the top and the top becomes the bottom. So for example, if I had 2/3, the reciprocal of 2/3 would be 3/2. Simple enough. Now the one thing I've got to remember is that it often leads to things like top-heavy fractions. So in this case, the 3, the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So as we've seen in previous videos, we now have to turn it into a mixed fraction. And remember, can you remember what the process of the mixed fraction was? Well, if you can remember, it was divide the whole number by the denominator. In this case, we get 3 divided by 2 is 1, remainder 1. We put the whole number, or how many times it goes into the number as the whole number, and then the remainder will be the numerator with the denominator staying the same. So the actual answer was 1.5. The reciprocal of 2/3 is 1.5. So what if we start with a mixed number? We've got 1 2/5 here. If we simply flipped the fraction and went to 1 5/2, we're not flipping the whole number. That unit 1 isn't being flipped upside down. So the answer is we turn it from a mixed fraction into an improper fraction first, top heavy. And if you remember, to do that, we multiply the bottom by the whole number, in this case 1 times 5, and add the numerator, the top, on. So 1 times 5 plus 2 is 7, and then that'll be our new numerator with the denominator the same, 7/5. 7/5 is the same as 1 2/5. So now we can get the reciprocal from this, because we don't have it as a mixed number, we have it as an improper fraction, and all we've got to do to get the reciprocal is flip it upside down, 5/7. So there's my answer to that. When I had a mixed fraction, I turned it into an improper, a top-heavy fraction first, and then I flipped it to find the reciprocal. So this is the last little trick you'll find with reciprocals. What if we say we've got a whole number, no fraction part to it? Well, we can't turn into a top-heavy fraction because there is no fraction here. The trick to these is, with any whole number, there's actually an invisible 1 underneath. So 3 is actually 3/1, because 3 divided by 1 is 3. 6 would be 6/1. 10 would be 10/1, and so on. So if you keep that in mind, that 3 is actually 3/1, we can then get the reciprocal by simply flipping it over, and our answer will be 1/3.